Hi, everyone. Here we are for the second Ask Your Astrologer. And I'm going to be taking all of your questions. So have at it. I'm here to answer what you need to know specifically about astrology. So here I go. I am looking over here, and I think these are some that people put up right before we started. And and some people are asking me about um, 0 degrees Rahu, what's going on? Well, I mean, any planet can be 0, 29, any degree. But many times when I see this, I ask myself, is this the true node or the mean node? And what that means is with Rahu and Ketu, some astrologers look at where the nodes truly are, and that's a true node, and or the mean node, which if you look at the movement of the nodes, they actually move. If you take the mean motion within a year, they move 1.5 degrees per month. But anytime you come around the time of eclipses, they actually stand still for 3 months. And then they move erratically, really fast backwards. So what I'm trying to say is I like the true node because it really does kind of put in perspective that around eclipses, Rahu and Ketu stand still like they're stationing. Okay, let me see here. What's the difference between Western astrology versus Vedic astrology, and which one should I study? Good question. I was a Western astrologer for 20 years before I got into Vedic back in the very early 90s. And the Vedic astrology uses the true placements astronomically of where the planets are relative to the stars. And because the stars are constantly moving very, very, very slow, over a course of 2,000 years, both zodiacs differ by about 24 degrees backwards in the zodiac. That's why your Vedic positions are different and they go backwards in the signs. But I find that the Vedic is way more specific, especially with prediction. We have the dashas and we have the nakshatras, which are so deep with meaning. The nakshatras come from the meanings of the stars. So each nakshatra's meaning is determined by the stars in that portion of the zodiac. And it gives people and events deep, rich meanings. I personally prefer the Vedic over Western, and I have practiced both professionally. So a lot of people who have a strong opinion, ask them if they have truly practiced both systems before they make an opinion. So that's my opinion. Okay. On your birth calculator, it has 4 different charts in the results. Which one do you use, or what chart do you talk about? I don't know what you mean by 4 different charts, or should be only one, but I'm thinking that you're looking at the North and the South Indian style charts. They're both read the same. They're just a different format. So if that's what you mean, that's what it is. And it's interesting because a lot of people get really confused with the North Indian style because the numbers they think are the numbers for the houses and the numbers are the numbers for the signs. But they're both just different formats for the same thing. What does it mean when you have Sun, Moon, Venus, and Neptune in Libra in the 12th house? Okay, so it means you have a Scorpio rising, number one. And when planets are in the 12th house, it means you're very private, you're very spiritual, and there's a lot of connection to foreign places and foreign people because that's the 12th house. But most of the time, I find that when people have a lot of planets in the 12th, as well as the 6th, they go into fields of healing. They love to learn about healing, health, all those type of things. That's what the 12th house essentially can mean. But it is also a house that can deal with dreams and psychic ability as well. So I know that you have that power. Do Vedic or sidereal use Chiron or Lilith? I personally do not use Chiron or Lilith. They're not calculated in most of the Vedic programs. I used to use Chiron, and years ago when I was Western astrology, I used to teach about Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, whatever it is, wherever it is. And I do kind of wish that the Vedic charts would calculate Chiron, because it is about health and healing, whatever house it's in. And you can find that out by looking at a Western program that calculates Chiron, convert it into your Vedic chart, and it will tell you where you are going to process the most healing, the issues around healing personally, emotionally in your life. So Chiron is about healing. All right. What if a planet's sitting with Ketu and Rahu nakshatra? How do we interpret it? So you're saying whether Rahu and Ketu, yes. Well, right now, for example, Rahu is transiting in Shatabishak, which is ruled by Rahu, and that's in the sky right now. And that absolutely strengthens and empowers it for Rahu's type energy, which is extreme, which is healing, which is profound. So, so with that, yes, when they are in their sign of rulership, a nakshatra that's ruled by Rahu, Rahu being in a nakshatra nakshatra that ruled by Rahu, makes it more powerful. Okay. Okay, your seventh lord is in the second house, 8 placements away. So if your seventh lord is in the second house, you and your partner may have issues around money. You both look at how you spend your money differently, and money issues will be very important matter in your marriage. Okay. Can we see narcissists from birth chart? Well, you can see people that are extremists, people that have a strong ego, yes. But, here is one thing I'm going to say about this, and you're not going to like it. When people are constantly talking about narcissism and people that are narcissists, somehow you attracted those people in your life, and there's a lesson you got to learn through it. And, narcissists attract the victims. So you got to look into yourself why why in your life there are so many narcissists. If this is the case, I'm just assuming. So forgive me if I'm assuming wrong, but you got to look at yourself always if you're attracting those kind of people in your life, because you don't want to do it anymore. You gotta realize what you're doing so you don't attract those type of people. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. What are out of bound planets and how do we interpret them? These are such great questions. I love this. Out of bounds planets. Let me explain this concept. So out of bounds planets mean when you look at the declination of a chart, the planets in a chart. Actually, what we're doing when we're looking at the degrees, we're looking at the longitude. And there's longitude and there's latitude. Declination will deal more with the latitude. And what happens is, when we're looking at the planets, the way that we're looking at their degrees and their longitude, latitude, is we're looking at the ecliptic. I know it's technical. Let me see if I can make this simple. So the bounds where we determine where a planet is relative to the ecliptic is the path of the sun around the earth. If a planet falls beyond 24 degrees, particularly because there's this ecliptic on both sides going north and south. If a planet is way beyond, like I'm looking at it from 21 to 24 degrees, if there's a planet by declination 24 degrees is considered out of bounds, and that's exactly what it means. It's out of control. And it's been noted many times that when Mars becomes out of bounds, there's so much anger and craziness in the world, just like Mars was totally out of bounds during September 11th, 2001. And I've seen this pattern many times, that were the planets, and it's not just Mars, any of the planets can be out of bounds. And you can also look at it in a birth chart as well. All right. I'm planning for signing up for UVA. I won't be able to begin on this exact date. Of course, really and truly, you don't even need to sign up on the date that we begin the first semester class. Why? Because all of the classes are recorded, even the live ones. That's why I say it's self-paced. You can begin anytime, and you can watch the pre-recorded live ones anytime. But most of all, even if you can't be there on the first date, you know, you can come on when you're able to and watch the recorded ones of the lives. But we have 40 videos that you have to watch to take your test before you graduate. They're all pre-recorded, but we have the live classes just to inspire and keep everyone motivated to keep on with the course till you graduate. And I promise you, if you follow my course and you graduate, you'll be able to read a chart. And I promise you, eventually, as well as I do, because I give all of my secrets, which are not secrets, away. I am not going to hoard information. And the way that I teach is from experience. What I see works, what I see doesn't. So I hope you'll come on board. It's a community. You're going to love it. And by the way, today, Shri and I are going to come on live. We'll be able to answer more questions like this. Okay. Okay, I signed up for UVA a few years ago. Life got busy and I wasn't able. Of course you can begin again. This is my favorite thing. It never expires. Please come on and join us again with the live classes, just like you just signed up. It never expires. So any of you who think, oh my gosh, what if I can't continue on with it this year? You get to pick up where you left off at any time. I have students, I'm not exaggerating, that started the very beginning, almost 10 years ago when I started UVA. They still come back and listen to all the live videos. That's why I say we're a community, never expires. You always get to come back and join us and be part of it. All right. What else? All right, this is going real fast. Okay, I wanted to explain about the Super Bowl winner, just curious for the fun of it. And that's what it is fun. I predicted the Patriots, and I was wrong. Let me tell you why. And it's not an excuse. Years ago, I started something called the Sports Predictor. And mainly I started it because my sons were in sports and they were in college and they wanted to know who was going to win. And I created this whole system of prediction with the Sports Predictor. And what it did, I'm going to give you the secret right now. What I did, I had to find all of the charts for teams. And I couldn't find when the team began, you know, like when the business contracts and corporation began. It's impossible. But I found the dates when the teams did their very first game. And I used that as their chart. But I don't have a time, so I just did it for noon. When I use these charts, I start with, and I was going to write a book on this. What I did was I used the time that the game started as the ascendant, and I put the teams' data in from their first game. And what I mainly did to make it simple was I looked at if benefics were in the angles, usually they would win. If malefics were in the angles, usually they would lose. And that was my technique. But let me tell you, I put the Sports Predictor out. This was probably about 7 years ago. And I ran into all these gamblers. They got really serious about it, and it was no fun anymore. They were, I'm just going to say, they were gross. People are gross when it comes to gambling and money and sports. I totally abandoned it because I didn't like the energy. And here's the other thing. I promise you I did this. I did 2 years of every game in the NFL football, and my odds were 73% accuracy. I did the whole statistical analysis. And therefore, it led almost 25 or 23% that I was wrong. I couldn't get it 100%. Nobody ever will. So anytime I got one of those games wrong, it was a big uproar and people got really upset. I said, I'm not dealing with this anymore. You will never be 100% right. Just the fact that I got 73% right, people said was a bigger average than anyone else. But you can never be right. So if somebody joined my sports predictor and they were worried about one game and I was wrong, then they said the whole thing was wrong, which it wasn't. It was 73% accurate, but that other percentage was wrong. And if I got that one game wrong, they were like all over the place how I was wrong, astrology was wrong, but that's how it all came about. So you know what? I don't think I'm going to predict games anymore because people can't take it as fun. They take it too serious and then they start gambling. And, you know, I don't want any part of that. So that's my answer with that. I hope you understood what I just said in terms of how I created the whole prediction with sports. All right, so let's get back. Is it possible to win the lottery while being in the last phase of Saudi Sati? Anything's possible. I'd have to see the whole chart. But, you know, Saudi Sati is pretty tough. So, but when you're saying you're in the last phase of Saudi Sati, I assume you're talking about your moon is probably Saturn's in, probably your moon's in Aquarius because Saturn's in Pisces right now. So it's in the last phase, in the last sign. That's not near as bad as when Saturn is in the sign of the moon. Not near as bad. So yeah, it's possible. In Vedic, what is the name used to do a kind of synastry reading for a potential spouse? All right, I didn't get the rest of that, but I use synastry. Synastry is where you take both charts and you overlay them onto each other. And I feel like that is the best way to see compatibility, you know, just like where all your planets fall in their chart and vice versa. That will tell you exactly how you guys connect or where the issues are. Everyone's going to have things to work on. Okay. Wow, these are coming fast and furious. All right, you're looking for a job. The eclipse in Aquarius is falling in my 10th house. My 10th house Lord's in the 6th house. Oh, I didn't get all that. But let me just say, if an eclipse is falling in your 10th house, your job's going to change. Most definitely, because that means, I don't know if you mean this eclipse that happens in February. This eclipse is with Rahu. That means Rahu is in your 10th house. And that would definitely mean a new job. Rahu gives, so probably a new job, but usually with the price tag attached to it. So it'll be stressful, but it'll probably be worth it. Rahu, if K2 is in your 10th house, you will always change jobs or something about your job changes, you know, maybe not companies or business, but something big will change because with K2 transiting in the 10th house, of course, wherever the nodes are going to be where the eclipses are occurring. So you'll have the eclipses in the 10th house. But K2 there means that job will change and you're not satisfied with your job right now. That's why it changes. But you will change in some respects, something about it. All right. Let's see here. Will I find love? I didn't get to see all that with Leo, or I think Maga rising. You know, when Jupiter does go into Leo, probably not this year. Let's see, Maga, 2028, the second part of 2027 will be great for relationships for Leo rising. Okay. All right, so let's see. You know, I got to compute this stuff so fast in my head. This is hilarious. When you're looking for true purpose, what does this mean when there's no planets in the 10th house? Yes, I just did that video. I don't have any planets in my 10th house either. I'll probably do another video on this. Wherever the ruler of the 10th house goes, that will tell you what your career is going to be all about and what your purpose is. For example, my 10th house is Pisces. Jupiter rules Pisces. Jupiter goes to my 3rd house with my moon. Okay. 3rd house is about communication, teaching, writing, traveling. That's who I am. That's what I do. So look at the ruler of your 10th house and assess what house it's in. That will tell you what your purpose is supposed to be about, what your career is supposed to be about. Okay. All right. Let's see. Chiron in the 10th, you might go into a career of healing, helping people. And that could be therapy, that could be anything to do with health and counseling, things of that nature. Oh yeah, and I just saw somebody said that their daughter has no planets in Kendra's. You know, I think that is such a huge misconception. I have seen so many majorly famous people with no planets in the angles. And in Vedic astrology, they go, oh, you have to have planets in the angles, which are what? Houses 1, 4, 7, and 10, in order to be a success in this world. That's not right. You know what I think is the most misunderstood house in the chart is the 3rd house, because there's no yogas formed with it, nothing. Nobody talks much about the 3rd house, but so many entertainers and major people have planets in the 3rd house. Why? It's the house of willpower. And if you don't have any willpower, you can't achieve anything. So don't worry about planets not being in the Kendras, which are the angles 1, 4, 7, and 10. All right. Ruler in the 12th. I assume you're talking about the ruler of the 10th for career, because we were just talking about that. That could mean you could work overseas or work with foreign people. It can also mean you work behind the scenes. And sometimes people in the movie business have planets in the 12th house. And many times people that deal with charitable foundations and helping people. A lot of times even a doctor will have the ruler of the 10th and the 12th. They work in hospitals. So there's so many meanings that, you know, you can't just think of, oh, the 12th house is lost. No, it has specific meanings for specific careers. All right. Let's see. You have so many planets in the 10th house. That's good. You're strong. You're powerful. There's going to be career is your powerhouse. It's what you strive to achieve. Work with purpose and meaning, and your career is so important to you. I'm not going to be able to do charts in my head, guys, so don't be giving me your data. That's crazy. I have 1 second to do it. I'm not that smart. All right. Let's see. So, okay. So, movies, 12th house. Yes, absolutely. I've seen many movie producers and actresses with planets in the 12th house, because the 12th house is, think about it like this. Neptune in Western astrology rules Pisces, which is the 12th sign, and Neptune rules photography and silent movies. So there's this affiliation with the 12th house and movies. And the 12th house means ways that we escape the world, right? What are all the ways that we escape the world? This is the 12th house: hospitals, prisons, ashrams, vacations, foreign lands, and even sleep and dreams, and ultimately death. That's all 12th house. So what I'm saying about the 12th house, since it can mean ways that we escape the world, think about when you go to the movie theater. Is that not a total escape from the world? You're totally immersed in a world of illusion. You walk out of that movie theater, out of the darkness, and you think, my God, I was in another world for the last 2 hours. That's the 12th house. Okay. All right. Goodness gracious. I love so many questions, and y'all are brilliant. I'm just, yeah, Saturn, Rahu and Saturn in your 12th house. Got that one. The shorter ones I can read faster, guys. So I think Saturn and Rahu are actually likened to each other, believe it or not. And Saturn and Rahu in the 12th house is deep, profound, and spiritual. And here is one thing I can tell you, though, that is valuable information. The 12th house deals with the past. And when you have planets such as dealing with karma, Saturn, Rahu in the 12th house, you've got to learn to let go of the past, because it stifles you to be attached to the past too much. And one other thing I know, when you have malefics, and those are 2 malefics in the 12th house, you can't sleep at night. And there's things that are really churning and burning in your mind, maybe when you're trying to go to sleep, concerning the past. Let it go. Here's what I want you to ask yourself. If I can't change it, if I have no control over it, let it go. And that is the past. If you can do something about it and change it, then those are the things you got to work on. But don't worry about the past. It's spilt milk. You got to let it go and move forward. If you're looking in the rear view mirror the whole time you're driving, you're surely not going to get to your destination. So remember that. All right. So let me see. Sun in Scorpio in the 4th house. That's just one thing. The sun in the 4th house is going to be a really strong mother and a connection to your home. But a sun in Scorpio, really what you need to look for is where Mars goes in your chart. Because what I can't stress enough is that the planets that rule a house are more important than actually the planets in a house. And here's what my teachings tell you: that the planet that rules a house is the landlord. Planets in a house are the tenants. And yes, they're controlled by that house. But wherever the landlord goes is going to tell you everything about that house. That's why in your chart, the houses that have no planets in them, wherever the ruler of that house goes, it speaks volumes about what that house is all about. How do you know what planet rules each house? Well, you got to know what planets rule each sign. And Scorpio's ruled by Mars. That's why I said the ruler of the 4th, which is Mars, wherever it goes, will reflect so much about your home, your family, your mother, more than just the sun being there. But the sun being there, wherever the sun is too much energy. Why? We can't look at the sun. It hurts our eyes. So there's a whole myth in Vedic astrology about Sanjaya and Surya, the sun. Sanjaya was the wife of Surya and couldn't stand to be with him because he was too bright. And she put her shadow in the place of the sun and left. And that created a whole different dichotomy of things. But my point with that is, if you have the sun in the 4th, then there's something over-consuming about what? Your mother. Sun in the 7th, then there's something about your partner that is too over-consuming. If you have a sun in the Fifth house, you will have a child that is way too bright and over consuming. It's good, but it's just too much at some point. Sun in the ninth will mean a father that is way over too much. Okay. All right. Let me get back here. Venus and Rahu in the third house. Okay. In Cancer, Venus and Rahu, first of all, are powerful together. You love everything to do with beauty, with even beauty products sometimes, because Venus, Rahu, Venus is beauty. Third house is your communication skills. And you should be in media to a certain degree. With them being in Cancer, you are hyper sensitive. You are really, when you convey any message, when you write, when you speak, when you communicate with people, you do it with emotion. People listen, and that would make you a very sensitive, beautiful writer, beautiful, and entertainer, something to do with media. That's good for you. All right. What does it mean when you have Mars alone in the third house? You have conflict with your siblings. Absolutely. Always. I'm not kidding you. Mars is the karaka for siblings. When it's in the third house for siblings, there is conflict. But maybe you don't have any siblings, and that is another thing that it would mean. And sometimes it can even mean you're the youngest one out of your siblings. But usually it represents that you have some conflicts to work out, competition with siblings. Okay. All right. Let me see. Well, about a move for a house move. What transit do you look for? That's an easy one. If Jupiter is in your fourth house, transiting, that is, you're going to move. And even when it's in the third house, you could move, because right before, by the time it gets into the fourth house, you're there. But do not forget to look at the fourth house from the moon. So make your moon the ascendant, and look if transiting Jupiter is about to go into your fourth house, and or if it's going to be aspecting the ruler of the fourth house. So basically, if it's aspecting the fourth house too, so that would mean if Jupiter is in the eighth, transiting, Jupiter is transiting the eighth or the 12th, it's aspecting your fourth house, and there could be a move. Okay, hope I got that through. All right. Let's see. Oh gosh, this is coming faster than I can read them. I love it. You guys are amazing. Look at all the people that know Vedic astrology. You switched to Vedic last year. What is the first book? What, I didn't read anything beyond that. My book, Eastern Astrology for Western Minds, is actually my textbook for my university. I wrote it in 2003, and I still refer to it all the time. So it is, and my university kind of follows through with that. Viparit Raj Yoga. A Viparit Raj Yoga means reversal. And what it is, for those of you that don't know, is when you have a planet that rules a dastana, which are the most difficult houses, 6, 8, and 12. If you have a planet that rules those three houses in those houses, 6, 8, and 12, then you got a Viparit Raj Yoga, and it means reversal. It means out of something difficult, something good will happen. And many times that could deal with like an accident. You're in an accident, you get hurt, but you get this great insurance policy that comes. So it turns things around, but it does mean something difficult will happen, but something good comes out of it. Okay. I don't, somebody's saying, please read super chats. I don't know. What is super chats? Am I missing something here? All right. Please read Super Chat. I guess that's a book. Is that right? Okay. What does an eclipse mean in the second house? Okay. An eclipse that apparently you got to have either Rahu or Ketu in the second house. And if it's Rahu, and remember the nodes stay in a sign for a year and a half, so the eclipses eventually fall in the houses. So that means that if you have an eclipse in the second house, it also means that you're going to have 6 months later the eclipse in the 8th house, always opposite. These are the houses of money. And it means some issues of money will come along. If it's Rahu in the second, you're going to come into money. If it's Rahu in the 8th, you're going to come into money through inheritances or other people or settlements. It's definitely true. And if it's Rahu, it's definitely true because Jupiter, well, the whole time it's in Gemini till next, the beginning of June, is trining where Rahu is. So yeah, it's going to bring money. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Moon and Mars in the 7th house in Scorpio. Well, first of all, if you have Moon and Mars together, you have a Chandra Mangala yoga. That just means Moon Mars. But that always represents business success, a Chandra Mangala yoga. In the 7th house, you can have a very successful partner, business success for them. But they'll be very difficult to get along with. But, you know, it's okay. You just got to know that they'll be a little bit argumentative, they'll be a little bit confrontational, but they'll be very successful. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, I like the way, let's see. I like the way people, are putting these, okay, make them shorter, guys, so I can read them. Moon, Mars, and Venus in the 10th house. In Leo, okay, pretty good. Moon, Mars, is that what it said? That's success. That's success with career, you know. And another thing is you should probably own your own business because that's going to make, you'll be making the success for yourself instead of other people. That's what I'll say. Okay. How is it for Aries sign for higher education? Oh, I didn't get that. All right. Sorry, guys. I was seeing that you were just saying what super chats is, but I didn't get it. It would move too fast again. Oh, super chats is paid questions. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Thank you for informing of that. I'll look. I think they're the ones that are colored differently too. I'll grab those, but don't make them so long. I can't read them. And okay. One person asked about childbirth. How do you know childbirth and whether it be a boy or girl? Okay. So I look first thing you got to look for in a chart for having children is how Jupiter's situated, because Jupiter is the karaka for children. Is it in a good sign? Number one. Now, even if it's debilitated, doesn't mean you won't have children, for sure. But that's one thing. Planets in the 5th house, planets ruling the 5th house, but asking about whether it's a boy or a girl. I use this technique. It's not infallible. But if the sign on the 5th house, and also be looking 5th from the moon too, is a male or female sign. What is a male and female sign? Water and earth is female, air and fire are male. So I have Libra on my 5th house. I have 3 suns, but I also have 3 planets in my 5th house. And one of them is the sun. The sun in the 5th house, 9 times out of 10, can mean your first child's a boy. Okay, I hope that I answered that. Let's see. Venus in Pleiades, 8th house with Rahu. Okay, so I'm assuming it's in Taurus because the Pleiades are in Taurus. So, or somewhere around that constellation. That's not easy for love, and that's not easy for relationships. But it can mean your partner can be very wealthy. It's the 2nd house from the 7th, but the in the 8th house is also your money that comes to you through other people. So it can mean that as well. But Venus all by itself is the karaka for relationships. Okay. All right. So what am I seeing now? Venus in Maga in the 12th house, meaning Venus in the 12th house, for one thing, can mean, well, it depends on what house it rules, but Venus in the, well, in Maga, let's see. So Leo, that means you have a Virgo rising. And that means for Virgo rising, Venus rules the 2nd and the 9th. Okay, so Venus rules the 2nd and the 9th, and it's in the 12th. Can mean that your father was never around, or there's something about him that took him where you didn't connect with him. But and it can mean your finances. Money can come through foreign places, foreign people, or an industry that can deal with trade, and or it can also mean charitable foundations. And that's very general. I'd have to see the whole chart, but I'm showing you how I do this. Okay. A Revati moon in the 8th house. All right. So the 8th house is the house of difficulty. And anytime the moon's there, I don't care what sign or nakshatra in Revati, it's in Pisces, of course, but what I will say is your mother had a rough life. Your mother had a rough life with the moon in the 8th. But with the moon in the 8th house in Revati, you're incredibly psychic and intuitive and maybe very profoundly connected with the mom in some way. The moon is the mother, but that is your psychic ability coming out. All right, so super chat, a purple crown, but the pink, I have no idea, is first. Okay, the purple. Look for the purple ones. I'm not seeing any purple ones, but I'll look. Okay. Okay, I'm looking for the purple. Goodness gracious. Sun in Purnavasu in the 8th house. The sun in the 8th house, let's see, Purnavasu's Gemini. So that would mean Gemini, let me think a second. So Cancer, probably you have a Capricorn ascendant. And Gemini sun, the sun is about the father. The father's had a rough life and there's difficulty through the father with that. But Purnavasu means he might have had some turnarounds, some major comebacks in life, but it will reflect issues around dad. Okay. All right. It's going so fast. I'm trying to grab on these. I apologize if I'm not getting your questions. Rory, I just saw your name, but you popped out. Rory is one of my new students, okay, in UVA. Venus in the 4th in Leo. You must have a beautiful home. Oh, don't you have a gorgeous home? And it's decorated very lavishly with it being in Leo. And Leo's so creative. You probably like decorating homes and things like that. Okay, let's show you how the Galactic Planner is my favorite thing. I receive it every month. Thank you. I worked hard on that planner. Thank you for giving feedback. Wait till you see what we're going to do with it soon. It's going to be the most amazing app out there in astrology. I promise that. Saturn conjunct K2 in the 5th house. Okay, Saturn K2. I call that a curse and a blessing. And it means, well, really, that something good comes out of something difficult as well. Probably this could deal with children, or you have a very specific creative talent with that. But it might feel like a curse, but it's actually a blessing. That's how I see that. What does Saturn and Jupiter in the 10th house mean? Well, the conjunction of Saturn, Jupiter is usually always good. And did you know that they come around in conjunct, usually on an even year? 2020, 1960, 1980. So you were born around that time if you have them conjunct. But aside from that, career is very important. Together, there's a point of manifestation. So just remember this, Saturn gives you the discipline and the focus to get the job done, to get things done. You're very, very astute with your work. But Jupiter brings you opportunities. So hard work and opportunities brings manifestation through your career. Okay, Roy says, is it true you can predict weather and hurricanes and things like that? Yes, especially when planets go into certain nakshatras that deal with weather, such as Ardra. Think about the symbology of the nakshatra Ardra. It's the storm god, deals with winds and storms and things of that nature. Plus, you know, when you get malefics there. And I also found when Mars goes, or a planet goes Gandanta, in the last degrees of a water sign. Remember, water equates to water, rainstorms, floods, things of that nature. There's so many different ways of doing this and looking at it, but I just gave you a few ideas of what we look for. Rahu can bring extremes, and when and even it being with like Jupiter or something like that. Jupiter can be very watery because it naturally rules Pisces, things of that nature, but you just got to look at the whole thing. But usually I've noticed Gandanta and Ardra are things I look at. Okay, now let me see. Okay, so Rahu, I read part of it. Rahu in the 8th house, transiting the 8th house, I think on your Saturn. Is that what you said? See if it comes back. Well, that's, you know, Rahu is always going to bring extremes because it always is around the eclipses. So eclipses and Rahu in your 8th house will mean something concerning money through other people. And with Saturn, if it was Saturn that I read there, it could mean that it could be difficult in some respect to get a settlement or the money to come through, but it probably will with hard work. Okay. Virgo moon in the 12th house, you got to be into healing. You got to be into health, things of that nature. You love helping people. That's Virgo. The 12th house can deal with healing. Yes. All right. See you, Michelle. I saw that. See you soon in Shooting Stars. You will. By the way, do y'all know about my Shooting Stars class? It's live. We are personal. We are on Zoom. I talk with everybody. You get to participate. That's my Patreon group if you're wondering what we're talking about. It's a truly personal group, and I call it my spiritual community. Okay. Venus in the 12th house in Marigashira. You're constantly looking for things, researching things. You love the search. You love to travel and see foreign places and countries too. All right, that's just a generality. Okay, let's see. Mars and Scorpio in the 1st house. You can't sit still. You're constantly thinking about what you have to be doing. And high energy. Be careful of accidents, though, because you can be too impulsive and impatient. You got to slow down a little bit, okay? But it's a great energy for vivacious, strong life force. Okay. Jupiter retrograde. Oh my gosh, where did that go? Keep it up, it'll come back around. All right. Neptune in the first as an Aquarius rising. Neptune in the first means you're a mystic. You love everything to do with mysticism. You have seen miracles. You believe in the things that are unseen and mystical and spiritual because you've seen them. Okay. All right. Mars and Rahu in the 12th house. I didn't get the sign, but let me just say this. Because the 12th house deals with secret enemies, you've got to watch people that can come out at you, strike when you least know, and you don't know who it is. You think they're your friends, but they may not be. But Mars, Rahu in the 12th house. Remember this, that you can't hold on to the past. You can't hold on to people that you feel like have attacked you and you have resentments from the past. It's going to eat you up and hold you back. But Mars, Rahu in the 12th also, be careful of thieves. I remember when Mars transited my 12th house, just transited, I had my house robbed. So that's, make sure you keep things locked up. I don't want to create fear in you, but this can be prevented. Okay, that's what I see. Let's see. Meeting spouse for the first time. I have done videos on that. You can go find them, search for it on my YouTube channel. But generally, it's going to involve where Rahu or Jupiter are aspecting your 7th house or your 7th house ruler. Plus, then you got to look at it from the moon as the ascendant as well. 7th house and 7th house ruler. Okay. Also look at Venus, and especially in a man's chart, or if they're in a Venus dasha. Okay. Let's see. K2 and Mars in the first house. I think it said in Cancer. K2 Mars in the first house. Number one, if you have Mars in Cancer, it's debilitated. And with that being with K2, usually, and you've probably already gone through this, there's been a split in the family. I find that Mars and K2, because Mars and K2 are difficult together, and they can represent, difficulty in the sign of Cancer, since it deals with family. Usually there's family discord, and in the first house, it affects you personally. Mars in the first house in Gemini. See, I can take these short ones. Mars in the first house in Gemini. Mars is not necessarily a great planet for Gemini ascendant. When it's in the first house, you've got to watch being too impulsive, too impatient. And I find people with that can have headaches or bumps or things that affect your head. Hitting your head, just be cautious. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but generally that can mean stuff like that. Okay. Jupiter retrograde and K2 in the 10th house. You should have a spiritual career, something that deals with spirituality and helping people. That's what you should be doing with your life, and you will eventually. You can be a spiritual teacher, you can be a spiritual, anything to do with spirituality and truth. Okay. Let's see. Mars and Venus in the 7th house, Libra ascendant. So then that means Mars is in Aries. And yeah, really strong, powerful partner and conflict. But if you have Venus and Mars together, there's this very attractive power about you and very magnetic, charismatic, and that can actually represent the people that you're attracted to. Okay. All right. So Rahu and Shatabishak in the 12th house. Wow. Well, you've got a nodal return right now, don't you? Because Rahu is in Shatabishak right now in the 12th house. So it can mean also that right now you're ending a whole phase and cycle, but you're being reminded when you have a nodal return of what you're here to do in life. Nodal returns are very important. They happen every 18 and a half years. So you're 18, you're 36 or 37 or 50, 55 or 56. Those are the nodal return years. And those are the times that you're reminded of your purpose and what you're here to do in this world. In the 12th house, you'll probably travel to a foreign place during this time. Okay. Let's see. Wow, this is coming at me so fast. Let me take a sip of water. Saturn in Pisces in the 10th house. Your work is so important to you. You work really hard and you take your work seriously. And furthermore, you are so ultra mega responsible and you take on a career and a job with high degree of responsibility, and you will make a difference in the world. You're very, very sensitive and emotional with it being in Pisces, and really depends on where your Jupiter is to give you more information since they're in Jupiter's sign. Okay, the Sun in Mercury, 12th house, Gemini, means you're a Cancer rising. But Sun and Mercury in the 12th house, you love to travel to foreign places, foreign connections. There's a disconnect maybe with the father since the Sun is the father. And there's something here, let me just throw this at you, something here that you're here to learn through the relationship of your father too. And that's very karmic, something you brought with you from your past life. Okay. Debilitated Jupiter and Mars in mutual aspect. Yeah, that kind of reverses it. As you well know, the Parivartana. And they're very powerful. And the fact that they're opposed to each other, I believe, with this aspect makes it extraordinary. So it's Cancer and Capricorn. And yeah, there's something big for you to do materialistically in the world, and you will be very successful financially. Also, it depends on what houses. Okay. So let's see. Rahu and Saturn in the 5th house with Cancer rising. So let's see, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. They're in Scorpio. Wow. So with children, it could be a huge lesson. And I'll tell you this, whenever you got both those planets in the 5th house, there's something very karmic. You are blessed with a great talent because the 5th house is talents from previous lifetimes. But you obsess too much about everything. The 5th house is the mind. Rahu is obsessions. You got to quit being too over the top, obsessive, compulsive. And once you, and the problem is you realize you do it, but you can't stop. But it is actually, you have a great talent and things will, okay, Saturn, Neptune on your moon. All right, this is probably the last one I'll take, Saturn and Neptune. So your moon sits somewhere around 6 degrees of Pisces right now. You're going to wake up. There's going to be a big wake-up call because that Saturn-Neptune conjunction mean Neptune's delusions and Saturn's reality. So something is waking up in you that you didn't realize before, but it's giving you great wisdom and knowledge. The moon is your mind. There's a huge wake-up call right now. And with that, I think you're going to go forward, and you're going to have to, you're going to be helping other people to wake up as well. Okay. All right. It is time. And I am so proud of all of you guys because, man, these questions are good. You guys are with it. You are very astute and understand Vedic astrology. I absolutely love this. My head is spinning from all the questions here, and I am so sorry if I didn't get your question. I'm going to be doing this every week, and I feel almost a little bit dizzy from doing this, looking at all this coming at me, all this energy. But I'm going to do this every week, same time. So hold your questions. I will get to them, and realize this. I will, if your question is meant to be answered, it will be, okay? So realize that. I believe that everything is in divine order. And another thing is, yeah, I couldn't don't make your questions too long, because I can't read them and then they scoot up to the top. So if, you know, and I know y'all have a lot of questions, everybody does, but that's why I want to do this. I want to answer your questions, and I want to help you guys understand Vedic astrology. And let me leave you with this today. I believe it's at, let me look this up really quick, because Shri and I are doing a live today. Let me go to my calendar. Yes, at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Shrikala Ram and I will be live again here. So get the link for that live. This is all over the place, by the way, guys. I don't know if you realize it. This is on Instagram, this is on YouTube, this is on Facebook, and this is on TikTok. All these platforms we're going to be live on today, Shri and I, to answer more questions about what's going on in the world, as well as if you have any questions about the university too. Come back. We'll answer your questions. Shri can probably read these questions quicker and easier than I can, but we will try to get as many questions. We'll have an hour or maybe more with that. 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you guys again there. Thank you for being part of this. I appreciate everyone.